Are now calling a threat against a local high school a hoax. We are live on the scene.
Plus, tensions are high in Minneapolis after an ICE agent shot and killed a woman who was in her car. The Trump administration is defending the officer and vowing to continue its immigration crackdown.
And a judge is blocking bond for a man facing charges in a family shooting that killed a former police officer.
Streaming on clickorlando.com and broadcasting live. You're watching News 6 at 4.
We start off with that breaking news out of Seminole County. Police say a reported threat that put 2 schools on lockdown in Seminole County this afternoon turned out to be a hoax.
And it's serious, too. The FBI is now working to find out who was behind it. Your Seminole County community correspondent, Catherine Silver, joins us now live. She's at Lake Brantley High School. And Catherine, you just got some information from law enforcement and the school district.
Yeah, the main thing that they want parents to know is that this was an unverified threat. Both Lake Brantley High School right here behind me and nearby Forest City Elementary that's just down the street from here were put on code red out of an abundance of caution. The schools were cleared and nothing was found. I want to show you some video that we took right when we got here around 3 o'clock this afternoon. We saw officers with guns drawn outside of Lake Brantley, while we're told other officers were inside of the school going classroom to classroom to make sure that there was not a real threat. You can imagine the concern from parents who got that initial alert this afternoon about the code red. They rushed here and then waited outside until dismissal resumed. Right when we first got here, the scene was cleared right away. Those parents went to pick up their kids. There is still a law enforcement presence, as you can see, outside of the school this afternoon, mostly for dismissal to help with some of the traffic backups here. Again, police say that there was no threat. It was actually a hoax. They are saying they will keep investigating to find out who was behind it. For now, I'm live in Seminole County. Catherine Silver, News 6.
Catherine, thank you. As soon as we learn more updates, we will let you know here on News 6 and on clickorlando.com.
Another day of protest and outrage over the deadly ICE shooting in Minneapolis.
Reporter Lee Waldman is in Minneapolis with the latest.
Grief.
It was so sad. It was so sad. It's like you have to do something. You can't just sit back on the sidelines.
And outrage. ICE out! After an ICE agent fatally shot a 37-year-old woman in her vehicle in Minneapolis on Wednesday.
There is every reason to believe that Renee Nicole Good lost her life trying to help the most vulnerable neighbors in her community.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem defended the agent and claimed the woman tried to run him over, while state and local officials disputed claims that the shooting was done in self-defense.
They demanded and commanded her to get out of her vehicle several times. She did not. This is an experienced officer who followed his training, and we will continue to let the investigation unfold.
But Minnesota Governor Tim Walz referred to the event as a brazen use of force and slammed what the state claims is the federal government's decision to exclude a Minnesota agency from its investigation.
We have learned that the Trump administration has now denied the state that ability to participate in the investigation. Minnesota must be part of this investigation.
Walz called on federal authorities to work with state and local officials to de-escalate the tension in the community and for protesters to remain peaceful, while vowing to get justice for the mother of 3 who lost her life.
Minnesotans will tell her life story. Minnesotans will be there to defend her honor and see this as a human being.
In Minneapolis, Lee Waldman, News 6.
A live look now at the Capitol. That is where Senate lawmakers advanced a resolution to limit future U.S. military force in Venezuela without congressional approval. Today, 5 Senate Republicans voted with Democratic senators to allow a future vote on limiting the president's powers. Now, the vote is in response to the U.S. capturing Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro and his wife over the weekend. They now face federal charges. The full measure is expected to pass next week, which would require 51 votes in the Senate. However, it would still need to withstand a full amendment process. Later this month, the House is expected to take a similar vote on a measure limiting the president's power to military intervention in Venezuela.
The man accused of shooting and killing a former Orlando police officer is not allowed to post bond. That's according to a judge's ruling today. Your Orlando community correspondent Mike Valenti is live outside the Orange County Jail where 58-year-old Jeffrey London is being held. And Mike, he is charged with the murder of his son-in-law.
Yeah, Lisa, good evening. That's right. And Jeffrey London is no stranger to the justice system. In fact, he was convicted of homicide in 1985. Now today, he stands accused and charged of second-degree murder in the shooting death of his son-in-law, former Orlando police officer Dennis Turner.
I got Mr. London.
Jeffrey London making his first appearance before a judge Thursday, a day after he was extradited from the Highlands County Jail.
It's a life felony. I have an order held at no bond.
Orlando police say during a family gathering on New Year's Day, London showed up at this house on Cozart Street. One of the witnesses who spoke to police, Turner's wife, who is also the defendant, London's daughter. According to an affidavit filed by police, she told investigators she and the 64-year-old Turner had cut off ties with London after an argument around July 2025. And that London has not been invited to anything since. A separate witness who was at the house told police he saw London pull up in a white Mercedes-Benz and then got out and talked to Turner. That witness claimed he saw Turner walk away from London, who then, quote, pulled out a handgun and shot the victim in the back as he walked away. The affidavit goes on to say that Turner fell to the ground and rolled over while trying to crawl away. The witness said he then saw London, quote, stand over the victim and shoot him several more times. So again, authorities caught up with London later New Year's Day in Highlands County. He was in that jail for several days before he was extradited to Orange County, as I mentioned at the outset. Yesterday, and again, as you heard, was before a judge, was remanded to custody, held on no bond. He's charged with murder and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, citing that conviction for homicide in 1985. We're live outside the Orange County Jail tonight. I'm your Orlando community correspondent, Mike Valenti, News 6.
Mike, thank you. In Marion County, the suspect accused of shooting and killing an Ocala man in what's being called a random attack faced a judge today. Police booked Isaac Toy into jail last night on a homicide charge. Police say they got a call yesterday about a man on Southeast 3rd Street who appeared to have a gun. A short time later, another 911 call came in about a shooting not far away, and that's when officers say they found 64-year-old Harold Witt shot to death in the front yard of his house. Police say they found Toy armed and walking away from the area. They took him into custody. The judge ordered no bond for Toy.
The trial will be delayed for the man accused of killing 2 people during Halloween celebrations in downtown Orlando. Jury selection was set to begin today for 18-year-old Jalen Edgar. He's facing charges in the 2024 mass shooting. During the hearing today, Edgar told the judge he wanted to present an insanity defense to the jury. Because of that, the judge delayed the trial so he could order a mental health evaluation. A doctor is now set to evaluate Edgar in the coming weeks. Now at 4, NASA's canceled spacewalk appears to be just the beginning of potential trouble on board the International Space Station.
The walk was called off late last night because of a medical concern with a crew member. News 6's Matt Austin joins us now in studio. So Matt, walk us through what you know and what's expected to happen next.
Okay, so NASA has not identified the crew member who had that medical concern, and they also haven't said exactly what went wrong, but we know Commander Mike Fink and flight engineer Zena Cardman were set to venture outside the space station today. Both are a part of NASA's Crew 11, which also includes a Japanese astronaut and a Russian cosmonaut. That crew launched to the ISS from our Space Coast back in August. They were supposed to remain in space until their replacements arrive in the middle of next month. But now NASA says it's evaluating all the options, including the possibility of an earlier end to Crew 11's mission. And that is an extremely rare occurrence. Again, NASA did not name the astronaut that had the medical concern, but did confirm the crew member is stable. NASA is set to give an update on that crew in less than an hour. That's coming up at 5 o'clock. We'll let you know what they say.
All right, Matt, thank you. Meantime, a SpaceX Starlink launch scheduled for today is now moved. It's going to happen tomorrow. SpaceX wants to send 29 internet satellites into orbit from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. The launch window opens at 1:03 and goes until 5:03. Remember, you can be in the know for all things space through our Covering the Space Coast and Beyond newsletter. It goes right to your email every week. Just go to clickorlando.com/newsletters to subscribe. Well, should middle school students get recess?
I think a lot of students would say yes, and a lot of students are pushing for that very thing right now. Coming up, how they are getting their bill all the way to Tallahassee, also ahead.
They were like my kids, and to see them all just dispersed everywhere, and it's just heartbreaking, even with the families.
We are hearing from a teacher at a now defunct Orange County charter school and uncovering new details about the surprise closure. Julie.
Okay, warm weather lovers, you have a few more days to enjoy temperatures in the low 80s before a cool down and some rain heads our way. We'll time it all out in minutes.
You're watching News 6 at 4 as we take a live look at our camera in Daytona Beach. We'll be right back.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino.
This is Kara, I'm Joey, and we are your News 6 Insider Guide to Central Florida.
This week we went to the Apopka Wildlife Drive in search of some tricolored herons.
And we're after that perfect feeding photo. A close-up, sharp image of the fish still in the bird's beak.
Watch the full video at cookorlando.com/insider.
Signing up to be an insider is free, easy, and the only way you can keep up with our adventures throughout Central Florida.
And don't forget to nominate your favorite teacher for the News 6 Educator of the Week Award, sponsored by Osborne Francis and Pettis Law Firm.
New fallout from the surprise closure of an Orange County charter school. We've learned Legends Academy teachers will not get paid what's owed to them, while parents are scrambling to find new schools. Paramore community correspondent Jarrell Baker takes us inside the final days at Legends Academy and what happens next.
Andrea Stevens and other former Legends Academy charter school teachers are cleaning out their classrooms now that their school has shut down.
it's still heartbreaking because, like, right now when I went into my old classroom, it brought back all kind of memories. I could see the little kids' faces.
Last week, the Legends Academy Board of Directors voted to permanently close the school during a virtual meeting, citing unsustainable financial challenges. The decision displaced more than 200 students and left many teachers, including Stevens, without jobs.
Nothing. We didn't receive our PTO time. We didn't get any of that.
A spokesperson with Legends confirming teachers received no severance or PTO. The email also saying that all property purchased with public funds will be returned to OCPS as required by Florida law.
It makes me feel really upset and really confused because they didn't really give us an explanation on why they're shutting the school down.
Orange County Public Schools says that at least 1/3 of displaced students have already enrolled in district schools, with charter schools like Central Florida Leadership Academy also taking in students.
Right now we are in the process of enrolling 5 students from Legends, and we have a few more who recently applied, so that would be about 7 or 8 students. And we do have space available in all grade levels 6 through 8.
The district says that items reclaimed from Legends Academy, bought with public funds, will be made available to other charter schools. I'm your Paramore Community Correspondent, Jarrell Baker.
Okay, as we move ahead and talk about our forecast, we have some weather headlines with meteorologist Julie Broughton. I can't wait until you get to the cold weather headlines because that's my favorite.
Well, you know, we've got a little something for everyone. Lisa likes it on the warm side,
Correct.
so she's good for the next few days. And then Ginger, you can take over early next week when a cold front comes.
Okay.
So everyone's happy, right? For tonight, though, we are going to be watching for some more areas of fog to roll in. That fog has just been so dense out there the last several mornings. We have at least one more morning where I think you need to give yourself a little bit of extra time to get to work and school tomorrow and take it easy on the roads. Make sure you check in with Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos and Trooper Steve tomorrow morning to help you get where you're going. Now, by tomorrow afternoon, we are talking about near record warmth. We've been running about 10 degrees warmer than normal the last several days. That continues for about 2 more days for us before a front moves through on Sunday, and that will bring us a cool down. Now, here's what we're expecting tomorrow out ahead of that next front. We'll go to a high of 83 in Orlando and Sanford, and so really close to those records. The record in Orlando was set back in 2013. That is 84 degrees. Daytona Beach, you'll go into the upper 70s. Your record was set back in 1974. That is 84 degrees. Now, here's what it looks like right now as we take a look across Central Florida. Lots of beautiful scenes across Central Florida. The Kissimmee Lakefront, 79 degrees. Right now, it is 74 in Daytona Beach, 77 in Port Canaveral, and at Orlando International Airport, sitting right now in the low 80s. Elsewhere, if you're up in Ocala, you're at 78 degrees. It is 79 in Wildwood, and right now in Titusville, you are at 81 degrees. And by the way, if you haven't already downloaded our free News 6 weather app, make sure you do so. You can track the temperatures, you can track the radar and the forecast wherever you are, especially if you enable GPS. With that, it'll follow you where you're going. Now, here's your hour-by-hour forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Renewal by Anderson.
Okay, I love this picture. This is Primrose, and she is looking off, gazing off into the distance. She's enjoying a wonderful day at Lake Underhill. So it's always nice when your friends take candid photos of you. So that's what she's got going on. 76 degrees at 6 o'clock, 73 degrees at 7 o'clock, low 70s at 8 o'clock. Please go to clickorlando.com/pins. Share your pet photos. We are getting so many wonderful pet pictures. I look at every single one of them, and I'm trying to go in order of how they come in to use them on air. So if you haven't seen yours yet, keep watching. Here's the water vapor imagery. Shows us what's going on aloft regarding moisture levels. You can see some upper level moisture floating through, which is why we have seen some clouds in some places. Now here's what's happening as we move you into the weekend. This is our clouds and rain forecast. We'll keep it partly cloudy really as we head through the next couple of days, but we'll have that front going through early in the day on Sunday. A few isolated showers possible with that, but behind that we'll see our winds coming in out of the north, which will pull in that cooler air. So by Monday morning, a lot of us will be waking up in the 40s. Now, again, our concern for tomorrow morning is dense fog, and already in Flagler County, you have a dense fog advisory posted from 8 o'clock tonight until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. So visibility as we roll you through the overnight hours, looking at some spots again down to up toward Gainesville, down to about 1/10 of a mile. And Ocala, you're also looking at some pretty thick fog possible tomorrow morning as well. 7-day forecast shaping up like this: 62 when you wake wake up tomorrow morning going to a high of 83. We stay in the low 80s for Saturday. Sunday, about ahead of that front, will still be warm going into the upper 70s, but that cold air builds in by Monday. 48 Monday morning, going to a high only in the mid 60s Monday afternoon. And then we're looking at our best chance of rain we've seen in a while headed our way on Wednesday into Thursday.
All right, Julie, thank you. Some middle school students are getting their bill in the hands of a state lawmaker.
People from work have work breaks. School is just like work, but without the pay. And so because of that, we believe that kids should also have a time to have a break.
We will have their push to get recess in middle schools. That's next. A live look now at downtown Orlando from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope camera. You're watching News 6. We'll be right back.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Light Orlando.
Florida's legislative session starts next week, and one state lawmaker wants to make recess mandatory in middle schools.
The St. Cloud lawmaker filed the bill that will amend a provision of an education bill that former Governor Rick Scott signed back in 2017. Now, that bill mandates 100 minutes of free play recess each week for public school students in kindergarten through 5th grade. State Representative Paula Stark's bill would simply amend that statute, replacing the 5th with an 8th grade comment. If the bill passes, it would go into effect July 1st. Now, the bill from the state lawmaker actually came from some Osceola County students. In October, Lucy Graham, Carly Leach, and Delismar Francois won the 3rd annual Build a Bill competition.
It's hard to shake off the exhausting feeling from work, And so like people from work have work breaks. School is just like work but without the pay. And so because of that, we believe that kids should also have a time to have a break and just decompress, relax, take a breather from everything that's been happening during school.
These kids are really bright, so they're very thoughtful, and we really need to have a discussion about, what do we do next? One of the big topics in our whole state is mental health, and some of the things that we hear through these students kind of makes that concrete, and we need to address that a little bit better.
Representative Stark partnered with Osceola County Schools on the Build a Bill program. And we want to know, what do you think about this idea? Should middle school students get recess? Head to clickorlando.com/react and select yes or no. So far, a majority say yes.
Well, leaders are considering establishing a domestic violence registry similar to a sex offender list.
Coming up, what this could mean for dating and safety. Plus,
it could be fireworks. It could be anything else that the canine is trained.
an explosive scare on a high school campus. What investigators found inside a student's Camaro. That's next. As we take a live look over Port Canaveral, you're watching News 6. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We are following several top stories right now.
In Seminole County, we are learning Lake Brantley High School and nearby Forest City Elementary were put on a code red today. Seminole County Public Schools says it's because of a tip about a possible threat. The Altamont Springs Police Department and the school district are calling the tip a hoax and promising an investigation. We're learning new details about the retired Orlando police officer shot and killed on New Year's Day. Police say the suspect, Jeffrey London, is the father-in-law of the victim, 64-year-old Dennis Turner. Turner was a 23-year veteran of the Orlando Police Department and retired in 2018. London faces charges of first-degree murder and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. The trial will be delayed for the man accused of killing 2 people during Halloween celebrations in downtown Orlando. Jury selection was set to begin today for 18-year-old Jalen Edgar. He's facing charges in the 2024 deadly shooting. A judge delayed the trial so he could order a mental health evaluation. A doctor is now set to evaluate Edgar in the coming weeks.
A Volusia County leader is pushing for a new online registry to track people convicted of domestic violence. During a council meeting, the councilman said he wants an ordinance to create the database and make registration mandatory. Your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed takes a closer look at what this could mean for our community.
The idea is that if you're convicted of domestic violence, you would have to register for the Volusia County database, similar to how sex offenders have to register. Then the councilman says, if, for example, if you're looking to date someone, you could go onto the database online and see if they've been convicted.
And one of the biggest reasons for what happened to a family member of mine, where violence existed in the relationship and it caused some serious issues, could have been obviously a lot worse. So I thought to myself, wouldn't it be prudent if this individual had had some sort of history that we were aware of it?
The idea for the county ordinance came from Volusia County Councilman Matt Reinhardt.
And I don't want to put a time limit on it. I don't want to put number of convictions. I want it to be serious.
Tennessee just became the first state to launch a domestic violence offender registry. In 2022, a Florida senator tried to pass one, but it died in committee. Reinhardt hopes Volusia's ordinance would push Florida to adopt it statewide. Now, the county council just voted to have county staff do some research on how this will work, and then the staff will present their findings at a future meeting. But while here at the county building, I actually ran into Sheriff Mike Chitwood. I asked him what he thinks about this. He thinks it would be a good tool to use in combination with his deputies' work out on the streets.
In the past 3 weeks, we've had 30 domestic simple violence cases where we made arrests in all 30 immediately.
Residents have mixed thoughts.
I think that people can't be too safe dating these days.
Others feel convictions aren't always black and white.
You can look at bruises and wounds, but sometimes that doesn't tell the entire story either.
A date hasn't been set on when the staff will present their findings to the county council, but I'm told it should be within the next few meetings, within the next few months. I'm your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed, News 6.
A Brevard County man accused of forcing his way into a home and sexually assaulting a woman appeared before a judge today. Deputies arrested Kelvin Johnson yesterday on multiple charges, including sexual battery and aggravated assault. Investigators say Johnson rushed into a woman's apartment, held her at knife point, and sexually assaulted her. She was then able to run to a neighbor's house for help. Surveillance video helped agents identify the man.
An 8-year-old is badly hurt after law enforcement officers say he lost control of his dirt bike and hit a car. It happened last night just before 6 on Ronald Reagan Boulevard near Florence Avenue and Marker Street. This is in Seminole County. Troopers say when the 8-year-old boy crashed, he was thrown from the bike, hit the car a second time. The boy went to the hospital with serious injuries. Troopers say the driver of the car and his 18-year-old passenger were not hurt. They, however, stayed on scene. An investigation is underway.
Now to an explosive scare on a school campus. We told you about this as breaking news yesterday on News 6 at 4. Deputies say they got a tip about what they called modified fireworks. They then brought in a K-9 and the bomb squad to investigate in the parking lot of Matanzas High School. News 6's Troy Campbell explains what happened next from Flagler County.
It could be fireworks. It could be anything else that the K-9 is trained.
Flagler County Sheriff Rick Staley says on Wednesday his deputies were alerted to the student Chevy Camaro in the parking lot of Matanzas High School at around noon. It was parked near the tennis court.
During that investigation, we received information about a suspect vehicle and a suspect individual. We found that information this morning after school had started.
Investigators believe the car may be linked to 2 incidents involving explosives over the past 2 days in Flagler County.
One was related to an incident in the S section of Palm Coast, and the other one was an incident related in the L section of Palm Coast.
Detectives tried to speak with the student who parked his car at the school, but he refused.
He exercises Fifth Amendment right like any American has the right to do in this country, and I can't blame him for doing that.
That's when investigators called in a K-9 unit, which indicated a positive hit for explosives on the vehicle.
A positive hit doesn't mean that there was anything active currently in that vehicle. What it means is that at some point there was something, chemicals in that vehicle that an explosive detection K-9 would activate on.
The bomb squad from St. Johns County then showed up, and the school was placed on a controlled hold.
It had an impact on the rest of the day because we could not operate as normal, but we were able to keep the students in a safe location.
Law enforcement also used X-ray technology. Ultimately, after several hours, the sheriff's office cleared the scene, and no active explosive device was found. However, detectives say they collected evidence from inside.
And I want to thank the students. There are a number of students that were impacted because they can't get to their car.
And as of now, investigators say they have not made any arrests, but they emphasize their investigation is still ongoing. In Flagler County, Troy Campbell, News 6.
Character AI is agreeing to pay millions to settle lawsuits claiming its chatbots contributed to teen suicides. We've seen one of those lawsuits right here in Central Florida. An Orlando mom says her 14-year-old son developed a deep relationship with the chatbots and later died by suicide in 2024. The lawsuits claim the platform did not adequately respond when he showed signs of self-harm. The company says it has since added safety features, including blocking users under 18 from having back-and-forth chatbot conversations. Character AI has also settled 4 other cases in Colorado, New York, and Texas.
New developments in the battle between a city and a councilman. Chandler Langevin of Palm Bay came under fire last year for his comments about people from India. In response to punishment he received from the city, Langevin filed a lawsuit. Your Palm Bay community correspondent James Sparvero just found out the city now wants to delay going to trial.
Palm Bay is not ready to go to trial against one of its own councilmen. You may remember Chandler Langevin sued Palm Bay when the council censured him over what he wrote on social media last fall about immigrants from India. His first post read, "There's not a single Indian that cares about the United States."
The words you used put my children and other children of other color or whatever in harm. Quite frankly, as long as I'm not breaking the law, I'll say whatever I damn well please.
So 3 months later, I found out the city's attorney just filed this motion to postpone the trial over the lawsuit. Trial was supposed to start in 2 weeks, and while the city writes it worked diligently to prepare for trial, the motion then lists reasons why the city needs more time, like the holiday schedule and short staffing.
You can have controversial views. You can have a view that no one likes.
Attorney Anthony Sabatini told me Langevin's ready to go to trial. Sabatini's argued the council violated the First Amendment by censuring Langevin and attempting to limit his power. The city attorney's office is now having a special meeting over the lawsuit. They told me I'm not allowed in, but the public can go to the regular council meeting that follows Thursday night. We'll watch if Langevin has anything new to say before both sides get their day in court, whenever that will be now. We'll continue to keep you updated. In Brevard County, I'm your Palm Bay community correspondent, James Sparvero, News 6.
A popular wholesale club is one step closer to reality at a former shopping center in Sanford. This morning, the city's Planning and Zoning Board approved a move to replace the former Macy's at the Seminole Town Center with a Costco. Demolition for the old Macy's is planned in March. Yesterday, the city confirmed JCPenney is now sold. This is all part of a plan to transform the center into a new mixed-use development, including Costco, a new apartment building, and hotel. Now, they closed permanently in January of last year. Shoppers say they're excited about its future, though.
The brand that is going to be located on this pad is going to really, really excite the community. Very, very much. The region, quite frankly.
And city leaders say that 2026 will be transformational.
You can expect to see a lot more people around Disney World. Marathon Weekend started this morning. It's one of the biggest events of its kind in the country. The 33rd year of the event kicked kicked off at 5 this morning with the start of the 5K race. There will be a 10K tomorrow, a half marathon on Saturday, and then the full marathon early Sunday morning. There are some people who will even be running all 4 races. That's nearly 49 miles of running. Now, if you are going to participate in one of the races or plan to watch them, you can expect some spring-like weather. Our chief meteorologist Candace Campus put together the forecast for you in this story on clickorlando.com.
What is that if you do all of the, is that a goofy? They call it something.
You're asking the wrong person. It is goofy for
It's
sure.
Dopey. It's called dopey. Thank
Crazy.
you, Joe. All right, changes could be coming to a popular bike trail.
They weave in and out, sometimes very carelessly with cars too, and it's a little frightening for everybody.
Why e-bikes could soon be banned, that's next.
And our traffic safety expert, Trooper Steve, explains the rules on paying for metered parking, especially if you have a disabled parking decal.
Expect more fog for your Friday morning drive to work and school. In fact, Flagler County, you're under a dense fog advisory from 8 o'clock tonight till 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. We'll talk more about that and tell you when we'll see cooler weather in just a few minutes.
And as we head to break, we want to remind you to check out our primetime schedule on News 6 Plus. We have a new take on the day's news on News 6 tonight. That's at 9. Go in depth as we answer your weather questions at 9:30. Then watch the late news an hour earlier. It's all tonight on News 6 Plus. Download our streaming app for free. Search WKMG in your smart TV's app store. It's also available on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino.
No matter the day, the West Orange Trail here in Winter Garden is always full of people trying to get fresh air. I'm Stephanie Rodriguez reporting for News 6. People are out here jogging, running, or riding a bike a lot of times. But soon, residents could potentially see less wheels here on the trail.
I think there needs to be changes. The kids are it's not just kids, but they're flying up and down on the scooters, on the e-bikes. It's just dangerous for families and people walking on the trail with dogs, kids.
Tonight, the city of Winter Garden will take a final vote on an ordinance cracking down on e-bikes. The ordinance would prohibit e-bikes capable of reaching 28 miles per hour on West Orange Trail, ban motorized scooters on sidewalks less than 8 feet wide, and not allow the operation of an e-bike by anyone under 15.
We love the trail. I think it's definitely an asset for the city, and I think what's the challenge is to share the trail because lots of people are using it, and limit with indeed e-bikes or even scooters is quite tight. So I think we need to fix a rule.
The ordinance was passed during its first reading last month in hopes of improving public safety, a change some agree with, especially when it comes to children on e-bikes.
They don't have somebody making sure that they're riding safely. And as they're doing this, they're putting other people in danger. They startle pedestrians, they weave in and out, sometimes very carelessly with cars too, and it's a little frightening for everybody.
If the ordinance passes, people found in violation would be fined $100. Reporting in Winter Garden, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
All right, we're going to check in now with meteorologist Julie Broughton, who's standing by, telling us about a big change that we can expect in our temperatures.
Yeah, so we've been running about 10 degrees warmer than normal just about every day this week. But that is coming to an end. We have 2 more days where we can expect temperatures in the low 80s, nearing record highs tomorrow. And then our next front arrives on Sunday. That will bring us cooler conditions as we end into next week. And then by the middle of the next week, we're tracking a big increase in our rain chance. We really haven't seen much rain lately. So our rain chances by Wednesday jump up to about 40%. Here's a look at your Light Orlando delivering Hope Together camera over downtown Orlando. And you can see we are seeing some cloud cover today, indicating we do have a little bit of moisture in the atmosphere, and we'll continue to see that mix of sun and clouds until around sunset, which is right around 5:45. 81 degrees right now in downtown Orlando. Our winds are coming in out of the east at 8 miles per hour. Now, if you're in Oviedo or Chiliota, you're sitting right now at 77 degrees, 78 in Mount Dora, 79 in Mascot, and it is 80 degrees right now in Webster. Denellen, you're sitting at 78 degrees, 78 degrees in Reddick, and it is 78 degrees as well in Pearson. Again, the normal high this time of year is right around 72 degrees, and we've just had these warm temperatures sticking with us every day this week. Deer Park, you're at 76 degrees. Micco checking in at 72, and it is 70 degrees right now in Cocoa Beach. Now, here's your hour-by-hour forecast. You can plan the rest of your day and into this evening. And this is Sadie Rose, and Sadie Rose is only 9 weeks old, but she's enjoying some sunshine, so she knows she likes the weather. She's just perfect. Look how shiny she is. 76 degrees at 6 o'clock. By 7 o'clock, we'll see partly cloudy skies going down to 73 degrees and 71 degrees at 8 o'clock. Make sure you go to clickorlando.com/pins to share your pet photos so then we can share them with everyone else. So on that shot from our downtown Orlando camera, you saw some clouds. This is the water vapor imagery. It shows us the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere regarding moisture levels, and all the orange represents the very dry air. You can see that we do have some moisture hanging around, creating some of those clouds. Now, again tonight, overnight, we're going to be dealing with some fog tomorrow morning. In fact, those of you in Flagler County are already have a dense fog advisory posted overnight, and we'll continue to see clearing skies and light winds. So when we're talking about those light winds and clearing skies and some moisture hanging around, there's really not much to mix that out of the atmosphere. So that's why we'll see that fog forming. Now, we did mention that we're looking at our chance of rain going up. That doesn't really happen for us until Wednesday, but between Wednesday and Friday, we could pick up some measurable rainfall, about a ½ inch in Orlando, a little bit more rain as you go farther to the south, more than an inch possible by the end of next week in areas like Fort Myers. So here's how it looks for your 7-day forecast. 62 for our overnight low tonight. Again, remember, you'll be dealing with some fog tomorrow morning. Give yourself some extra time. Back up to 83 tomorrow for your high. The record in Orlando is 84. More of the same on Saturday. That front comes through early on Sunday. I do think we may see a few isolated showers with that. The big story with that front, though, will be the cool down. 48 Monday morning, back up to 66 for your high on Monday. And then our next system brings that better chance of rain for Wednesday and for Thursday.
Julie, thank you. Open your camera app, scan the QR code you see right there on your screen, and click the link. We want to see your weather pictures and videos and also your pet pictures. They could end up right here on TV. You can also go to clickorlando.com/pins and upload your pictures and videos that way. Now to a question for our traffic safety expert.
Someone said they heard a rumor that if you have a disabled parking decal, you can park for free on the street. Trooper Steve explains if this rumor is true. That's next. As we take a live look at Mount Dora, you're watching News 6. We'll be right back.
Coming up in the mornings, it is the end of the road for most Lynx buses in Seminole County,
where time is running out for these bus stops, and why not everyone is on board with the replacement.
Plus your weather and traffic every 10 minutes.
Join us for News 6 mornings, starting at 6.
I like this. Heard a rumor, if you have a disabled parking decal, you can park for free on the street. All right, there's truth to every rumor. Here's a Florida parking tip that a lot of people may not know. So if you have a valid disabled parking placard or specialty license plate with the wheelchair icon, Florida law allows you to park at on-street parking meters for free, believe it or not, for up to 4 hours. Now, a couple important reminders that the placard or the plate must be current, clearly displayed, and issued to the person using it. So this isn't a free pass to park all day, and it doesn't apply to private parking lots or garages unless they say otherwise. So after 4 hours, normal parking rules kick back in and local restrictions still apply. So if you or a loved one does qualify for this, this is one of those little known accommodations that can actually really help make those errands a little easier for you. So just make sure you're using it the right way. If you got a traffic safety question, you want me to answer it, head on over to clickorlando.com/AskTrooperSteve.
There are new concerns about what happens when people stop taking popular GLP-1 weight loss drugs like Zepbound or Wegovy. A new study in the British Medical Journal finds those people regain the weight about 4 times faster than what's normally seen with traditional weight loss programs involving diet and exercise. Researchers at Oxford also found the weight tended to return to pre-treatment levels less than 2 years later. It was the same for risk markers for diabetes and heart disease.
Many people who take these medications view it as a silver bullet and are not making those other changes. It should be seen as a way to jumpstart your weight loss while you're still making those other behavioral changes.
The study found people regained about a pound per month on average after discontinuing the drugs.
Now, to a programming note, we want to give you a heads up. Drew is on the move to make way for something new. Starting Monday, the Drew Barrymore Show moves to 9 a.m. Then at 3, you can catch a new show live from Orlando. We're all excited about it. It starts Monday right here on News 6. News 6 at 5 is next.
Anchor Matt Austin is in the newsroom with what's ahead.
As NASA's Crew 11 continues its mission, a spacewalk was canceled today. They say it's because a crew member was sick. Coming up at 5. We're hoping to learn more from NASA officials about what exactly happened. Plus,
multiple people that we spoke to say they were shocked after a man was shot and killed in his front yard yesterday. Police saying it was a random act of violence. Coming up, what they have to say about the arrest and what neighbors have to say about the shooting.
only minutes away. Don't forget, you can stream all of our newscasts and live cameras just like this look at Daytona Beach as we look inland towards Central Florida. You can check out these cameras for free anytime on News 6 Plus. We'll be right back.
And we thought we heard what sounded like a car backfiring, and we heard the boom, just one shot.
It could happen to anyone. Neighbors on edge after a random shooting in an Ocala community left a man dead. What we know about the suspect. Plus, in a rare move, NASA considering ending a mission at the International Space Station early. We'll tell you what's going on. And
It's a sad new year for some at Port Canaveral because after 50 years, the Cape Marina is just months away from closing. I'll show you how those impacted are feeling right now.
You're watching News 6 at 5.
Any moment now, NASA is set to give an update as the space agency considers the extremely rare move of ending a mission on board the space station early.
This all stems from a medical concern with an unidentified crew member that led NASA to call off today's spacewalk. We know that crew member is stable. We're not sure which one it is. We'll let you know when the presser begins. To more breaking news now. A reported threat that put 2 schools on lockdown in Seminole County this afternoon turned out to be a hoax.
The FBI is now investigating to find out who was behind it. Your Seminole County community correspondent Catherine Silver joins us now live from Lake Brantley High School. And Catherine, you just got some information from law enforcement and the school district.
They tell us that the call came into Lake Brantley, but it was an unverified threat. Both Altamont Springs Police and the school district sent us notice this afternoon shortly after the code red here at the high school and also at Forest City Elementary just down the street was lifted, also letting parents know that it was just a hoax. Now, law enforcement cleared out of this area within the last hour after dismissal ended. All the traffic from that pretty much gone now. I do want to show you some video from this afternoon of what it looked like. When we got here right around 3 o'clock, the road was closed at this time. We saw officers with their guns drawn outside of Lake Brantley, while we're told other officers were inside the school going classroom to classroom. They say sweeping each one just out of an abundance of caution. Even though the threat was not real, the concern from students and their families certainly was. Again, police say that this turned out to be a hoax, but they will be investigating to try to find out who called it in. I'm live in Seminole County. Catherine Silver, News 6.
All right, Catherine, thank you. Tonight, people in Ocala say it was a cold-blooded, heartless murder, and police say it was entirely random. One moment, an Ocala man is outside gardening in his front yard. The next, he was shot and killed.
Today, the man accused of that shooting yesterday had his first court appearance. Your community correspondent, Tylisa Hampton, shares more from neighbors.
Well, in this garden area is where neighbors tell me a man lost his life to a random act of violence that's led to shock and concern for many living in this area.
For some, this Ocala neighborhood is quiet again. But for neighbors here, Wednesday afternoon was anything but.
It was scary as hell.
And I just think that is pure evil.
Police say just after 3:30 p.m., a call came in of a suspicious person with a gun on Southeast 3rd Street. That person noting a man with a gun tried to talk to him, and when he did not stop, the man cocked his gun. Then moments later, another call reported a nearby shooting. 64-year-old Harold Harper was found shot in his front yard while gardening and later died. Deputies arrested 29-year-old Isaac Toy 2 blocks away, saying the shooting was a random act of violence.
And it was across the street where a neighbor says she heard the gunshot, a sound she will never forget.
And we thought we heard what sounded like a car backfiring, and we heard the boom, just one shot.
Joan Zeller says she saw the suspect walk, not run, away from the scene. She and her family rushed to help, finding Harper in his garden bed.
Looked out the window and saw an individual. His wife was frantic, so she opened the door, and we realized what happened, ran over to him. And I can't go into detail.
Toy appeared in court Thursday. A judge denied bond. He faces multiple charges, including homicide, the shooting leaving neighbors on edge.
I'm going to be on my P's and Q's.
Many remembering Harper as a kind-hearted man.
A wonderful man, kept to himself, worked in his yard.
Just by looking at each flower planted.
Mr. Harper loved his yard, enjoyed gardening.
They see a reflection of joy and how much Harper loved to watch life bloom.
And my prayers go out to his family and his wife.
And you can see a bouquet of flowers left at the front of the door. Many telling me that he was a good man, and their thoughts and prayers are with his family, hoping justice will be served. Reporting for News 6, I'm Talisa Hampton.
News 6 has requested police body cam video of the arrest, including the possible criminal history or mental stability of the suspect there. His next court appearance is scheduled for February. We'll update you right there on News 6.
All the pieces were in place today for jury selection to begin in the double murder trial of the 18-year-old man accused in the 2024 Halloween downtown Orlando shooting. But potential jurors learned they would not be called today. The judge delayed the trial as he ordered a mental health evaluation for the defendant, Jalen Edgar. Your Orlando community correspondent Mike Valenti was inside the courtroom today and explains why Edgar and his defense attorney do not appear to be on the same page.
As we told you Wednesday, Jalen Edgar tried to ditch his court-appointed attorney, Junior Barrett. But Judge Keith Karsten denied that request. Thursday morning, though, that same judge ruled in Edgar's favor on a matter on which Edgar and his defense attorney did not seem aligned. That issue being a not guilty by reason of insanity defense.
You were asking for a new attorney to present a defense. Can you tell me what defense you are requesting to present to the jury?
Guilty by reason of temporary insanity.
Jalen Edgar doubling down on a letter he sent the court last month. That letter argued that Edgar's current attorney, Junior Barrett, was ineffective, in part because Barrett had not retained a second doctor to conduct a mental health evaluation on Edgar. Per Judge Karsten's ruling Wednesday, Barrett remains Edgar's attorney. But the judge returned Thursday and said he reviewed case law that holds a defendant can change their mind and invoke an affirmative defense, in this case an insanity defense, even on the morning of trial.
It is a difficult defense for him to get a jury to accept or understand.
Barrett had previously retained a doctor to evaluate his client, but as he explained to the court, he did not subpoena that doctor for the trial because he was not planning on arguing a not guilty by reason of insanity defense. In his letter, Edgar suggested he had intrusive thoughts when prosecutors say he killed Tyreek Hill and Timothy Schmidt Jr. and hurt several others. And now, per the court's ruling, a second doctor will be tasked with evaluating Edgar's state of mind in the coming weeks, thus delaying the trial.
We have inconvenienced hundreds of members from our community to be brought into the courtroom to be considered for jury selection. I am somewhat surprised that the case law indicates what it indicates, that even on the morning of trial, a defendant may exert this affirmative defense.
So because of this late set of circumstances, the state asked for a continuance and the judge granted it. And it will be the state that gets its pick of which expert evaluates Jalen Edgar. Reporting outside the Orange County Courthouse, I'm your Orlando community correspondent, Mike Valenti, News 6.
Okay, it looks like NASA's giving an update on the crew on board the International Space Station. Let's listen in.
Ongoing operations of the space station, conducted extensive scientific research, completed the majority of their mission objectives, and upheld the standards of professionalism for which astronauts are known. Crew 12 is currently scheduled to launch as soon as mid-February. Alongside our international and commercial partners, NASA is evaluating their timeline to include earlier launch opportunities. We will provide more information when it's available. In the meantime, NASA astronaut Chris Williams, having launched to the station on November 27th on Soyuz MS-28, maintains our American presence in space and will support the space station's operations and scientific efforts. NASA astronauts and our teams in mission control and our professionals who train for every possible scenario at every step of the mission, including moments just like this. I'm proud of the swift effort across the agency thus far to ensure the safety of our astronauts, and I know NASA and our commercial partners will successfully bring Crew 11 safely home. And with that, I'll turn it over to Associate Administrator Amit Kshatriya.
Good evening. Thank you, sir. I'll be brief. We'll get to Dr. Polk as soon as we can, but
I'll just add a few comments. In every discussion over the last 24 hours as we've assessed the situation, crew safety has always remained our highest priority, and as it always is across the agency. We never take shortcuts. We never compromise when it comes to protecting our astronauts. The work accomplished during this period reflects the precision and professionalism of the flight control teams on the ground and the astronauts aboard ISS. Our crews are extensively trained, as the administrator mentioned, to manage unexpected medical situations and other off-nominal events, including onboard training, which we conduct regularly for these situations. Yesterday was a textbook example of that training in action. Once the situation on the station stabilized, careful deliberations led us to the decision to return Crew 11, as the administrator mentioned, while ensuring minimal operational impact to ongoing work aboard ISS. Operating ISS is a complicated task and has been for the past 25 years with crews on board. The safe operation of the station and the protection of the crew, who are the stewards of station operations, is the hallmark of flight operations and what we are reminded of every day of the unforgiving nature of human spaceflight. With that, I'd like to hand over to Dr. Pope.
Thanks, Amit. First, probably goes without saying, but I'll still reiterate as a physician that I'm not going to speak about any particular astronaut or any particular specific diagnoses. I'd ask that we still respect the privacy of the astronaut. As administrator mentioned earlier, the astronaut is absolutely stable, so I have to reiterate that again. But anytime we have a medical incident, we embark on looking at diagnoses and what we would call a workup to get a differential diagnosis on what's happening with that patient or astronaut on board. And as many of you know, we have a very robust suite of medical hardware on board the International Space Station, but we don't have the complete amount of hardware that I would have in the emergency department, for example, to complete a workup of a patient. And in this particular incident, that the medical incident was sufficient enough that we were concerned about the astronaut, that we would like to complete that workup. And the best way to complete that workup is on the ground, where we have the full suite of medical testing hardware. Now, again, because the astronaut is absolutely stable, this is not an emergent evacuation. We're not immediately disembarking and getting the astronaut down. But it leaves that lingering risk and lingering question as to what that diagnosis is. And that means there's some lingering risk for that astronaut on board. And so always we err on the side of the astronaut's health and welfare. And in this particular case, we are doing the same. And I should reiterate, in our 25-year history of the International Space Station, we've had many models and Monte Carlo analysis models that have said we should have had a medical evacuation approximately every 3 years in that 25-year history, and we've not had one to date. And even in this case, we're erring on the side of caution. Again, it's not an emergent evacuation, but we are erring on the side of caution for the crew member and in their best interest and in their best medical welfare. And with that, I think we'll take questions. Is that it, Bethany? Okay.
There you have it. It's confirmed NASA is bringing back Crew 11 early. As you heard from the doctor there, this is the first medical evacuation in the history of the ISS. In that 25-year history, they did not say a date, and they still have not identified the astronaut who has come down with whatever sort of illness or sickness this is.
They did say that crew member was stable, so that is the good news, and they do expect to give an updated timeline on when that Crew 11 will return home within the next 48 hours. So, of course, we're going to continue to monitor this. You can continue to watch that press conference right now at clickorlando.com.
All right, we'll be right back.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Launch Credit Union.
Well, 2026 will mark a major loss for some in our boating and fishing community. For 3 years, your Cape Canaveral community correspondent James Sparvero has been telling us marinas in the way of Port Canaveral's plans to build a new cruise terminal. Well, now, with the marina's lease at the port ending this year, James tells us some will be forced to move on.
It's a sad new year for some at Port Canaveral because after 50 years, the Cape Marina is just months away from closing.
It's a tremendous loss to the community.
I've reported extensively over the last few years how the port isn't renewing the marina's lease because the busiest cruise port in the world wants to build another cruise terminal in its marina district.
I've been living on boats for about, I'd say, 10 years now.
This is where Sean Flatley lives. Longer than anyone else who lives on a boat at the Cape Marina, he tells me. Now Sean's getting his plans in order for when he'll have to move. So as long as you've been here, this marina's been here at the port.
Yes.
How do you feel about losing it?
I think it would be a shame to lose this marina. If everything was going to turn into just cruise terminals and parking, people from Orlando who want to come out here and then have dinner here or charter or a fishing, it's gone. So I like the diversity of different types of things going on here.
In my coverage, CEO Captain John Murray has talked about having a variety of activities at the port.
We've been very, very focused on balancing everything that makes Port Canaveral what it is.
However, for this story, the port didn't want to make a new comment. The marina had a farewell party over the holidays. Management says the port still hasn't told them exactly what its redevelopment plans will look like for the new terminal. However, they did tell me the port is giving them a couple extra months to stay in business. The marina's lease was going to end in February. Now they say they'll close in July. In Brevard County, I'm your Cape Canaveral community correspondent, James Sparvero, News 6.
All right, we're going to check in with meteorologist Jonathan Kagas. What are we seeing behind you? Is that fog already rolling in?
Yeah, we have some sea fog, guys, right along the coast, and that's going to continue to build as the rest of the evening goes on. Dense fog advisory already in play for Flagler County. That's going to go into effect at 8 o'clock tonight, but there's a live look in Marineland, and you see all the haze and the thick fog already trying to roll on shore. Air temperatures back to the mid-60s right now with that breeze off of the Atlantic helping to push that foggy cloud deck right on into the seashore. So there we go, dense fog advisory. This is going to go in effect at 8 o'clock tonight, remain in effect to at least 9 tomorrow. We're likely going to see that expand, especially along the coast and then potentially even further inland as we keep that breeze off of the Atlantic. So we're dealing with some sea fog, and that's why we're seeing it on the earlier side developing over the Atlantic Ocean as some of that warmer, moist air goes over the relatively speaking cooler water, and it helps to cool that air mass that is over the cooler Atlantic Ocean right now. And then that easterly breeze continues to push it inland. Again, we get the dew point temperature to match the temperature, and then we get that saturation to occur. And then we have the fog develop again over the water and then push its way onshore. So that's what we are seeing right now, and that's what we are likely going to continue to see through the rest of the evening. So here's the current visibility, at least the sensor in Palm Coast in Daytona Beach still reaching 10, but you see that blotchy white and gray right along the coast. Also at the Cape, that's the sensors at least closer to the coast, picking up on some of that fog and that area of high pressure off the New England coastline, off the Mid-Atlantic coastline. Keeping our breeze out of the east will continue to force that fog inland as we go forward over the next several hours. So you see the white on your screen, that represents the footprint of the fog, at least the expected area of fog. There's 8 o'clock on your Friday morning. Note the zero visibility along the coast. It starts to push a little further inland, maybe as far inland as the I-4 corridor. Then we also have some extra radiational fog as we cool and keep our skies clear for parts of Marion County as well. I think we'll be in and out of some of the fog around Leesburg into Bushnell, but the thickest fog tomorrow morning, no doubt going to be right along the coast as it tries to push its way inland. Hour by hour forecast for tomorrow, that fog will get on out of here quick. We're back to the low 60s by 7 o'clock again with that fog sticking around, but then the sunshine going to break free, and that is going to lead to near record warmth. For that, here's a look at your forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Payne Law.
Yeah, we're going to jump back into the low to mid 80s tomorrow. Records are in reach. 84 the record in Orlando. The forecast high at 83 degrees. Sanford, our forecast is 83. For you guys, we're back to the middle 80s for our record set back in 1974. I think we stay a little bit away from it in Daytona Beach and then close by again in Leesburg as we are going to get back into the lower 80s. Right now, we're into the upper 60s in Palm Coast, again, with that breeze off of the Atlantic Ocean. Compare that, though, to near 80 in Orlando. We are at 80 degrees in Denellen. Temperatures tomorrow morning, we're back in the lower 60s, and then we surge to the low to mid 80s at least the start of the weekend. Next system behind that takes our temperatures right back down into the mid 60s for highs on Monday, guys.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Well, some major changes to one of the most popular games in the world.
Yeah, we're talking about Roblox. Up next, the new security feature that you and your children can use right now.
Your Thursday evening traffic alert. Listen, no heavy rain in the forecast, no weird stuff going on, so construction going to be happening. Make sure you're paying attention to I-4 east and westbound along the attractions area and then making your way up towards the Florida Turnpike. You'll see those lane closures and then down by Champions Gate as well. We're not scheduled for any full shutdowns, but this Turnpike stuff's been really causing some inconvenience for you guys as drivers. Not paying attention. We've had some crashes, so make sure overnight you are paying attention. Lane closures, especially down in Osceola County. I'm Trooper Steve with the News 6 Traffic Alert. Drive safely. I'll catch you in the morning.
Well, it is a mega popular online game, and it's now requiring age checks for users. Roblox has been accused of not doing enough to protect kids in the past.
News 6 investigator Erica Bragulio has been following these concerns. She joins us live in the newsroom with what parents need to know.
People who want to message other users on Roblox. This comes in the wake of concerns predators can create an account and pretend to be another child or teen. Now, the state of Florida is suing Roblox, claiming the company deceived parents about the safety of its platform while also not doing enough to protect children from predators. Two Brevard County families have also filed separate lawsuits against Roblox, claiming young girls were groomed and sexually exploited online. Now, people who want to text or voice chat with other users are required to verify their age. So here's how all of this works. You open up the app, You move your head left and right in the camera. This is to make sure you are a real person and not some fake video. The system will then estimate your age, then update your account with that information. This will impact the games users play as well.
Each game has a content maturity rating based on, think of it sort of like a movie rating, right? Think based on the same kind of components that you would have in a traditional movie rating. And all games on the platform that are available to play are required to have that content maturity rating on them. And now with age checking, we will adjust your default access to those games based on the age that we've estimated you to be.
The state of Florida is suing Roblox, accusing Roblox of not doing enough to protect children online. What is your response to that?
Yeah, we share the Attorney General's concerns about safety, and we're deeply committed to safety on the platform. Today's requirement is just one component of our safety approach.
So after the age checks, users are assigned to age-based chats. This means children will only be allowed to message someone around their age. The same goes for adults. Matt?
Very interesting. Erica, thank you. Much more coming up in our next half hour.
Including a new registry in Volusia County. It is designed to track people convicted of domestic violence. Up next, we'll explain how it works.
And here's a live look at Daytona Beach as we hit that golden hour. You're watching News 6. Look at your weather's coming up as well. We'll be right back.
Glad you're with us. I'm Lisa Bell.
I'm Matt Austin. You're watching News 6 at 5. We're following several top stories for you right now. And we start with breaking news. In Seminole County, investigators now call a school threat a hoax. Lake Brantley High and nearby Forest City Elementary were put under code reds. Officers had guns drawn outside Lake Brantley when our Catherine Silver got there. And we're told other officers inside the school were going classroom to classroom to see if that threat was real. Again, police say it was all a hoax, and they're looking into who called it in.
NASA says Crew 11 will be returning home from the space station early after an astronaut experienced a medical situation. NASA officials will not say who the astronaut is to protect their privacy, but they do say that person is stable. Crew 12 may have to go to the ISS early. They say they will have a further update in the next 48 hours for the undocking and return timeline.
In Marion County, the man accused of a deadly random shooting faced a judge. Ocala police officers got a call about a man who had a gun. Not long after, another call came in about a shooting not far away. That victim died right in his front yard. Isaac Toy was charged with murder and is now in jail on no bond. Tracking people convicted of domestic violence, at least one leader in Volusia County wants to create a database and make registration mandatory.
Your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed explains how this could work and what happened when the state considered doing something similar a few years ago.
The idea is that if you're convicted of domestic violence, you would have to register for the Volusia County database, similar to how sex offenders have to register. Then the councilman says, if, for example, if you're looking to date someone, you could go onto the database online and see if they've been convicted.
And one of the biggest reasons for what happened to a family member of mine, where violence existed in the relationship and it caused some serious issues, it could have been obviously a lot worse. So I thought to myself, wouldn't it be prudent if this individual had had some sort of history that we were aware of it?
The idea for the county ordinance came from Volusia County Councilman Matt Reinhardt.
And I don't want to put a time limit on it. I don't want to put number of convictions. I want it to be serious.
Tennessee just became the first state to launch a domestic violence offender registry. In 2022, a Florida senator tried to pass one, but it died in committee. Reinhardt hopes Volusia's ordinance would push Florida to adopt it statewide. Now, the county council just voted to have county staff do some research on how this will work, and then the staff will present their findings at a future meeting. But while here at the county building, I actually ran into Sheriff Mike Chitwood. I asked him what he thinks about this. He thinks it would be a good tool to use in combination with his deputies' work out on the streets.
In the past 3 weeks, we've had 30 domestic simple violence cases where we made arrests in all 30 immediately.
Residents have mixed thoughts.
I think that people can't be too safe dating these days.
Others feel convictions aren't always black and white.
You can look at bruises and wounds, but sometimes that doesn't tell the entire story either.
A date hasn't been set on when the staff will present their findings to the county council, but I'm told it should be within the next few meetings, within the next few months. I'm your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed, News 6.
Tensions in Minnesota are boiling over after the death of a woman killed by ICE officers. Here's a video of protesters being hit with tear gas outside a federal building in Minneapolis. Several hundred people gathering at the site where ICE operates. People are protesting the death of Renee Good, 37-year-old mom who was shot and killed by U.S. Immigrations and Custom Enforcement officers. U.S. Senator from Minnesota, Tina Smith, says Good was a U.S. citizen and was a legal observer of federal actions. Good was a mother of 3 who had recently moved to Minnesota with her 6-year-old son and partner.
And no surprise, strong reaction from local lawmakers on the deadly officer-involved shooting involving the federal ICE agent.
News 6 anchor Lauren Melendez joins us from the newsroom with a look at those responses and what leaders are calling for next.
So the First Amendment protects our right to assemble and express our views through protest. But what happens when that protest gets in the way of federal agents doing their job? We're seeing some division among lawmakers when it comes to trying to answer that question.
How dare ICE and this administration label her a domestic terrorist? You want to know who's terrorizing our communities? ICE agents from Orlando to Minneapolis. That ICE agent needs to lose his job, be arrested and charged for the murder of this woman.
We showed you that video multiple times, that scene that has divided America. But here's the moment in question in slow motion. While Democratic Congressman Maxwell Frost says, quote, it's clear the 37-year-old Renee Good was trying to drive away from ICE agents, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem says the focus should be on what led up to that shooting. Good allegedly antagonizing ICE agents and blocking their vehicles with her SUV. Republican Congressman Daniel Webster weighing in on Facebook, saying he stands firmly with ICE, adding they, quote, work every day under difficult and dangerous conditions, and threats or violence against those who uphold our nation's law must stop. But those conditions in this case may never be clear. We know that ICE agents are not mandated to wear body camera video. Do you think that should change? Would that help clarify the confusion about what exactly led up to this shooting?
This woman who was in a place she shouldn't have been, who made it her mission to bother and distract and hinder legitimate law enforcement operations. She drove her car at him. He fired back. 100% of the blame for what happened here rests on the wacky leftists who are fighting and hurting themselves in order to keep illegal invaders in our country. We don't need more body cameras to show us anything different.
Democratic Representative Darren Soto on X points to the nation's highest office, saying the Trump administration continues to sow chaos and division, going on to say we will use everything in our power to hold them accountable. In the newsroom, I'm Lauren Melendez, News 6.
Tonight, News 6 has just got our hands on the full report from a deadly alligator attack from last May. 61-year-old Cynthia DeKima and her husband were kayaking on Lake Kissimmee in Kenansville in Polk County when they glided over an alligator. That's when she landed on top of the animal and it killed her. The report says her husband tried to pry her from the gator's mouth for several minutes but could not free her. In the chaos, he lost his phone but was able to kayak to find someone to call 911. The woman's body was recovered later that evening. So this is video after officers killed 2 of the gators who may have been behind the attack. More than dozens of students are now forced to find new classrooms, and teachers are packing up with no severance and few answers tonight after a Central Florida charter school, Legends Academy, shut its doors for good. Paramore community correspondent Jarrell Baker takes us inside the final days at Legends Academy and what happens now.
Dondrea Stevens and other former Legends Academy charter school teachers are cleaning out their classrooms now that their school has shut down.
It's still heartbreaking because like right now when I went into my old classroom, it brought back all kind of memories. I could see the little kids' faces.
Last week, the Legends Academy Board of Directors voted to permanently close the school during a virtual meeting citing unsustainable financial challenges. The decision displaced more than 200 students and left many teachers, including Stevens, without jobs.
Nothing. We didn't receive our PTO time. We didn't get any of that.
A spokesperson with Legends confirming teachers received no severance or PTO. The email also saying that all property purchased with public funds will be returned to OCPS as required by Florida law.
It makes me feel really upset and really confused because they didn't really give us an explanation on why they're shutting the school down.
Orange County Public Schools says that at least 1/3 of displaced students have already enrolled in district schools, with charter schools like Central Florida Leadership Academy also taking in students.
Right now we are in the process of enrolling 5 students from Legends, and we have a few more who recently applied, so that will be about 7 or 8 students. And we do have space available in all grade levels 6 through 8.
The district says that items reclaimed from Legends Academy, bought with public funds, will be made available to other charter schools. I'm your Paramore community correspondent, Jarrell Baker.
Well, for some, learning how to protect yourself can be intimidating, but did you know there is some hands-on experiences taught right here in Central Florida?
Today on Trooper Steve on Patrol, he caught up with the Decision Tactical Ambassador. He explains the best way to be trained and have a great time while doing it.
You made a move to the education side. Talk to me about that.
All right, to get there, I got drafted onto the training staff at Orlando Police.
Okay.
And you've got to maintain a level of excellence
Yes.
in everything that has anything to do with police.
And now you're available in my world to everyone, not just us in law enforcement, because you've joined the team here at Decision Tactical. And in my opinion, it is probably the most premier civilian available training facility, environment exposing place that I have ever seen.
Thank you.
And now you're part of their team. How the heck did that happen? Because to the team at DTAC, good job.
All right, you can see Trooper Steve's entire interview with Steve Kelly. They talk about Kelly's resume, background, philosophy on personal safety. Just head over to this article on clickorlando.com.
And you can hit the road with Trooper Steve on patrol weekday mornings at 10, live on the new 6 Plus streaming app for your smart TV or clickorlando.com. E-bikes are more popular now than ever, but some cities and towns are worried about safety.
Yeah, still to come, a preview from Winter Garden where many neighbors say they support more restrictions. We'll be right back. Some breaking news. The U.S. House just passed legislation to extend expired health care subsidies for those covered by the Affordable Care Act for another 3 years. 17 Republicans broke rank to join unanimous Democratic support for that bill. The bill now goes to the Senate, where pressure is building for a similar bipartisan compromise. The enhanced tax credits were put into place during the COVID-19 pandemic, but expired late last year after no agreement was reached during the government shutdown. Winter Garden could ban some e-bikes from a popular trail. The city commission is set to vote on an ordinance that would limit e-bike use and prohibit kids under 15 from using them.
News 6's Stephanie Rodriguez spoke with people who tell her they are all for the restrictions in the name of safety.
No matter the day, the West Orange Trail right here in Winter Garden is always full of people trying to get fresh air, whether they're walking, jogging, or riding a bike. But soon, people here in the area could see less wheels on the trail.
I think there needs to be changes. The kids are it's not just kids, but they're flying up and down on the scooters, on the e-bikes. It's just dangerous for families and people walking on the trail with dogs, kids.
Tonight, the city of Winter Garden will take a final vote on an ordinance cracking down on e-bikes. The ordinance would prohibit e-bikes capable of reaching 28 miles per hour on West Orange Trail, ban motorized scooters on sidewalks less than 8 feet wide, and not allow the operation of an e-bike by anyone under 15.
We love the trail. I think it's definitely an asset for the city, and I think it's what's but the challenge is to share the trail because lots of people are using it. And the limit with indeed e-bikes or even scooters is quite tight. So I think we need to fix a rule.
The ordinance was passed during its first reading last month in hopes of improving public safety, a change some agree with, especially when it comes to children on e-bikes.
They don't have somebody making sure that they're riding safely. And as they're doing this, they're putting other people in danger. They startle pedestrians, they weave in and out, sometimes very carelessly with cars too, and it's a little frightening for everybody.
If the ordinance passes, people found in violation would be fined $100. Reporting in Winter Garden, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
We have some changes upon us in the weather department after a beautiful sunset out there. Meteorologist Jonathan Kagas is back. Jonathan?
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Nice at the port right now. We have a live look outside Port Canaveral, Brevard County with our Launch Credit Union camera. Nice sunset, as Matt mentioned, a little bit of color in the sky. No fog here, just up the road. We do have some fog coming in pretty thick and hot off the press. That dense fog advisor that we talked about has been extended to start at 6 p.m., so just about 15 minutes from now, and then go all the way till 1 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow. It's the sea fog coming in off the Atlantic, so a little bit different than the fog that we're accustomed to sometimes as we get into the cooler season where it just burns off quickly. It's going to stick around along the coast, and we showed you it was coming in pretty quick, and that is why the advisory has been kind of moved up a couple of hours right now. More changes on the way as we head back towards our north and west. There's a big cold front out there. You see where it's in the 60s in St. Louis, lower 70s in Oklahoma City, and then the 30s back towards the upper Midwest. That's where our next cold front is right now. That's going to get all that fog out of here as we get into the second part of your weekend. But nonetheless, it is also going to bring some much colder air back into Central Florida as we get into the second part of your weekend, and especially early next week. That's after another warm start, potentially record high temperatures tomorrow. 62 in Mount Dora. Good evening in Oviedo. We are at 62. Palm Bay, we're checking in at 63 tonight. Back to the upper 50s right now in Denellen. Now here's a look at your forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Advent Health.
High temperatures tomorrow back to the lower 80s. That's good enough for record territory. Likely missing records on a widespread scale by about a degree or two. So we are right in the ballpark. Back to the upper 70s in Palm Coast, 80 degrees in Titusville tomorrow afternoon. Clouds and rain forecast to show when those changes come down the pipeline. As we fast forward into the upcoming weekend, I think Saturday's looking pretty good. We're on the drier side again. Late Saturday evening might be able to squeeze out a stray sprinkle. There's Sunday morning, early Sunday morning at 3 o'clock, a couple of stray sprinkles are possible out ahead of this cold front coming through. By and large, there's not going to be a ton of rain with this front, which we could desperately use. By 7 o'clock on Sunday evening, some of the clouds that have been hanging around start to get on out of here. So for the Disney Marathon, that's of course marathon weekend. The marathon itself on Sunday, that's when we're tracking that front to come through. Everything should be pretty good weather-wise. It is going to be warm and muggy. I know a lot of runners don't like that, but nonetheless, I think we'll have a clear sky, just a few clouds out there to start. By 8 o'clock on Sunday, we're back to the upper 60s under partly cloudy skies, and you'll notice clouds going to increase through the race. They're going to make way for maybe a few stray showers early on your Sunday afternoon. Again, we could use the rain. Certainly that drought continues to expand. Again, that bright orange color expanding through parts of Marion County. That's the severe drought that continues to creep in from northwest to southeast. Everybody under some kind of label here. Abnormally dry. It's the lowest category of drought from Leesburg back to Orlando, Sanford, and just up for us into Daytona Beach. Not a ton of rain over the next few days. Again, 20% shot for a few showers late Sunday morning, early into the afternoon. Then there comes the drop in temperatures back to the mid-60s on Monday. Rain chances do go up a little bit. I think that's going to be our most beneficial shot for rain. That's going to come late next work week, Wednesday, Thursday, and maybe bleeding a little bit into Friday, guys.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Should recess be mandatory in middle school?
That's the discussion among state lawmakers right now. Up next, the students from Osceola County who are inspiring change at the State House.
Coming up in the mornings, it is the end of the road for most Lynx buses in Seminole County.
Where time is running out for these bus stops, and why not everyone is on board with the replacement.
Plus, your weather and traffic every 10 minutes.
Join us for News 6 Mornings, starting at 6.
A new bill filed today would make recess mandatory at middle schools across Florida.
The idea didn't come from lawmakers, though. It was dreamed up by 3 Osceola County middle school students who say every kid deserves a break throughout the day just for their mental health. Alex Cook explains.
This is a bill your kids are going to love. Mandatory recess at Florida schools through 8th grade. That recess requirement was already in place through 5th grade, and those students that drafted the bill say even adults get breaks throughout the day, and they think having this time to decompress in the middle of their school day should benefit everyone.
It's hard to shake off the exhausting feeling from work, and so like people from work have work breaks. School is just like work but without the pay. And so because of that, we believe that kids should also have a time to have a break and just decompress, relax, take a breather from everything that's been happening during school.
Florida Representative Paula Stark says she was thrilled to announce she filed the bill for the 2026 legislative session, posting on social media, "Recess isn't just play. It boosts focus, reduces stress, and supports physical and mental health. Our middle schoolers deserve this break too. Starting in 2026-27 if passed, let's prioritize student well-being." This bill isn't just a random idea. It's the winning proposal from Stark's annual Build a Bill competition in Osceola County, where middle school students learn how to draft and pitch legislation. News 6 was there when the students at Neptune Middle School in Kissimmee competed last October to see whose bill would be adopted by Representative Stark.
Carly, Lucy, and Elsmar.
The winners, Carly Leach, Lucy Graham, and Elismar Francois, told us why this bill is so important to them.
School just emotionally and physically exhausts all of us.
The Florida legislature will take up the bill when they're back in session in March. If passed, the new recess law would start July 1st. I'm working to get in touch with the students who wrote the bill now that it's officially filed. Keep an eye out for their reactions here on News 6. In Orlando, Alex Cook, News 6.
Ginger Gadsden is in the newsroom with what we are working on for News 6 at 6.
Yeah, an investigation's underway after a man was shot and killed, right, Ginger?
Yeah, Matt and Lisa, neighbors in Ocala are on edge after a man was shot and killed in his own front yard. Of course, they are outraged, saying that he was just in his front yard gardening when someone came in and just shot him. The community is on edge as they remember the 64-year-old who died, while police say he was just doing what he loved. Plus, a popular online platform is once again adding new measures to protect its users, what it means for kids playing Roblox. A live look now at downtown Orlando from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope camera. You're watching News 6. We'll be right back. Now on News 6 at 6, neighbors in Ocala on edge after a deadly shooting law enforcement is describing as random.
It was scary as hell. And I just think that is pure evil.
Where the investigation stands tonight. Plus, following up on changes to a popular online gaming platform, the new requirements in place to keep your child safe, and neighbors in Brevard County getting ready to say goodbye to a popular marina after 50 years. We'll tell you what's taking its place. News 6 at 6 starts now. And breaking right now on News 6 at 6, NASA's Crew 11 will return early from the International Space Station. It is the first time in the history of the space station program that a mission has actually been cut short.
Yeah, it comes after today's spacewalk was called off late last night because of a medical concern within the crew. NASA leaders spoke less than an hour ago, but have not identified that crew member and have not said what went wrong. But they have described that crew member as stable and say this is not an emergency evacuation of the ISS. We know Commander Mike Fink and flight engineer Zena Cardman were set to venture outside the space station today. Both are a part of NASA's Crew 11, which also includes a Japanese astronaut and a Russian cosmonaut. NASA's head, Jared Isaacman, says it's in the best interest of the crew to bring them home.
It's not an emergency deorbit. We retain the capability to bring astronauts home in a matter of hours if necessary. So this is recognizing, first of all, we're always going to do the right thing for our astronauts, but it's recognizing it's the end of the Crew 11 mission right now. They've achieved almost all of their mission objectives. Crew 12 is going to launch in a matter of weeks anyway. This is an opportune time.
Leaders say preparations are underway to possibly fly Crew 12 to the space station early, but that all depends on, again, what's in the best interest of all the astronauts involved. In the meantime, the U.S. will continue their presence in space with Chris Williams, who flew aboard the Soyuz MS-28 mission. NASA is expecting to give another update in the next 48 hours with the undocking and return time and what that would look like. Make sure you have our News 6 app for the latest updates.
I think it is pure evil. That's how one neighbor in Ocala is describing what police are calling a senseless and completely random killing.
One moment, an Ocala man's outside gardening in his front yard. The next, he is shot and killed. Today, the man accused in that shooting had his first appearance in court. News 6's Tylisa Hampton shares more on that as neighbors are still reeling from what some say happened in the blink of an eye.
Well, in this garden area is where neighbors tell me a man lost his life to a random act of violence that's led to shock and concern for many living in this area. For some, this Ocala neighborhood is quiet again. But for neighbors here, Wednesday afternoon was anything but.
It was scary as hell. And I just think that is pure evil.
Police say just after 3:30 p.m., a call came in of a suspicious person with a gun on Southeast 3rd Street. That person noting a man with a gun tried to talk to him, and when he did not stop, the man cocked his gun. Then moments later, another call reported a nearby shooting. 64-year-old Harold Harper was found shot in his front yard while gardening and later died. Deputies arrested 29-year-old Isaac Toy 2 blocks away, saying the shooting was a random act of violence. And it was across the street where a neighbor says she heard the gunshot, a sound she will never forget.
And we thought we heard what sounded like a car backfiring, and we heard the boom, just one shot.
Joan Zeller says she saw the suspect walk, not run, away from the scene. She and her family rushed to help, finding Harper in his garden bed.
Looked out the window and saw an individual. His wife was frantic, so she opened the door, and we realized what happened, ran over to him. And I can't go into detail.
Toy appeared in court Thursday. A judge denied bond. He faces multiple charges, including homicide, the shooting leaving neighbors on edge.
I'm going to be on my P's and Q's.
Many remembering Harper as a kind-hearted man.
A wonderful man, kept to himself, worked in his yard.
Just by looking at each flower planted.
Mr. Harper loved his yard, enjoyed gardening.
They see a reflection of joy and how much Harper loved to watch life bloom.
And my prayers go out to his family and his wife.
And you can see a bouquet of flowers left at the front of the door. Many telling me that he was a good man, and their thoughts and prayers are with his family, hoping justice will be served. Reporting for News 6, I'm Talisa Hampton.
Heartbreaking. Well, now to Seminole County. Police say a reported threat that put 2 schools on lockdown this afternoon turned out to be a hoax.
Yeah, the FBI is now investigating to try to find out who's behind it. Your Seminole County community correspondent, Catherine Silver, was at Lake Brantley High School after getting information from police and the school district.
The call came into Lake Brantley, but it was an unverified threat. Both Altamont Springs Police and Seminole County Public Schools sent us notice shortly after the code red here at Lake Brantley and nearby Forest City Elementary was lifted, letting parents know that it was a hoax. Law enforcement cleared out of this area after dismissal this afternoon. All the traffic gone. I want to show you some video of what it looked like when we first got here around 3 o'clock when the road was still closed. There were officers with their guns drawn outside of Lake Brantley, while we're told other officers were inside the school going classroom to classroom. They say out of an abundance of caution. Even though the threat was not real, the concern from students and their families certainly was. Again, police say that this was a hoax. They're going to keep investigating to try to find out who called it in. In Seminole County, I'm Catherine Silver, News 6.
Well, this is the second time this week students in Central Florida have dealt with a lockdown at their school in Flagler County. No arrests have been made yet after Matanzas High School was on hold status yesterday. The Flagler County Sheriff's Office says deputies were looking into the potential presence of a modified firework in a student's car near the school. The car was eventually cleared. Deputies say detectives were investigating 2 suspicious incidents this week to check out a suspect and their car. Again, no arrests have been made. Of course, we'll continue to watch these stories and give you updates as soon as we get them on clickorlando.com.
The man accused of shooting and killing a former Orlando police officer is not allowed to post bond. That's according to a judge's ruling today. Your Orlando community correspondent, Mike Valenti, was at the Orange County Jail where 58-year-old Jeffrey London is being held as he's charged with the murder of his son-in-law.
58-year-old Jeffrey London is no stranger to the justice system. In fact, he was convicted of homicide in 1985. Fast forward to today, and he's been charged with murder in the shooting death of his son-in-law, former Orlando police officer Dennis Turner.
I got Mr. London.
Jeffrey London making his first appearance before a judge Thursday, a day after he was extradited from the Highlands County Jail.
It's a life felony. I have an order held at no bond.
Orlando police say during a family gathering on New Year's Day, London showed up at this house on Cozart Street. One of the witnesses who spoke to police, Turner's wife, who is also the defendant, London's daughter. According to an affidavit filed by police, she told investigators she and the 64-year-old Turner had cut off ties with London after an argument around July 2025, and that London has not been invited to anything since. A separate witness who was at the house told police he saw London pull up in a white Mercedes-Benz and then got out and talked to Turner. That witness claimed he saw Turner walk away from London, who then, quote, pulled out a handgun and shot the victim in the back as he walked away. The affidavit goes on to say that Turner fell to the ground and rolled over while trying to crawl away. The witness said he then saw London, quote, stand over the victim and shoot him several more times before driving away. Authorities later caught up with London in Highlands County, and he was in that jail for several days before he was extradited to Orange County on Wednesday. He's been charged with murder and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Reporting outside the Orange County Jail, I'm your Orlando community correspondent, Mike Valenti, News 6.
The trial will be delayed for the man accused of killing 2 people during Halloween celebrations in downtown Orlando. Jury selection was set to begin today for 18-year-old Jalen Edgar. He's facing charges in the 2024 deadly shooting. During a hearing today, Edgar told the judge he wanted to present an insanity defense to the jury. Because of that, the judge delayed the trial so he could order a mental health evaluation. A doctor is now set to evaluate Edgar in the coming weeks.
A popular online game is now requiring age checks for users. Roblox has been accused of not doing enough to protect kids in the past. These age checks are for people who want to message other users on Roblox. This comes in the wake of concerns predators can create a Roblox account and pretend to be another child or teen to talk to your kid. The state of Florida is suing Roblox, claiming the company deceived parents about the safety of its program, while also not doing enough to protect kids from predators. 2 Brevard County families have also filed separate lawsuits against the company, claiming young girls were groomed and sexually exploited online. Well, now people who want to chat or voice chat with or text with other users are required to verify their age. Here's how this works. You open up the app. You have to move your head left and right in the camera to make sure it's a real person. The system will estimate your age, then update your account with that information. This will impact the games users play as well.
Content maturity rating on them. And now with age checking, we will adjust your default access to those games based on the age that we've estimated you to be.
The state of Florida is suing Roblox, accusing Roblox of not doing enough to protect children online. What is your response to that?
Yeah, we share the Attorney General's concerns about safety, and we're deeply committed to safety on the platform. Today's requirement is just one component of our safety approach.
That was an interview from our investigator, Erica Bruguglia there. After the age checks, users are assigned to age-based chats. This means children will only be allowed to message someone around their age. The same goes for adults.
Next week, state leaders are weighing a question. Should middle school students have recess?
One lawmaker from Osceola County is pushing to make this a requirement. Coming up, we're digging into this proposal and seeing what you at home think about it as well. Plus,
I think it would be a shame to lose this marina.
We're hearing from neighbors getting ready to say goodbye to a marina that has been there for half a century. What could take its place?
Fog is already starting to roll in across parts of the east coast of Florida right now. We have a dense fog advisory already in play for Flagler County. We'll talk about when this arrives for everybody and when a big chill is sliding back down the pipeline coming up at about 6:17.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Advent Health.
Florida's legislative session starts next week, and one state lawmaker wants to make recess mandatory in middle school. The St. Cloud lawmaker filed a bill that will amend a provision of an education bill former Governor Rick Scott signed in 2017. That bill mandated 100 minutes of free play recess each week for public school students in kindergarten through 5th grade. The bill would simply amend that statute, replacing 5th with 8th. If the bill passes, it would go into effect July 1st. The bill from the state lawmaker actually came from some Osceola County students. In October, Lucy Graham, Carly Leach, and Elisama Francois won the 3rd annual Build a Bill competition. State Representative Paula Stark partnered with Osceola County Schools on the program. And we want to know what you think about this. Should middle school students get recess? Head on over to clickorlando.com/react and select yes or no. So far, the majority of you are saying yes.
I like it. 2026 will mark a major loss for some Central Florida boaters and fishers. For 3 years, your Cape Canaveral community correspondent James Sparvero has been telling us marinas are in the way of Port Canaveral's plans to build a new cruise terminal. Now, with the marina's lease at the port ending this year, James has an update on how some will be forced to move on.
It's a sad new year for some at Port Canaveral because after 50 years, the Cape Marina is just months away from closing.
It's a tremendous loss to the community.
I've reported extensively over the last few years how the port isn't renewing the marina's lease because the busiest cruise port in the world wants to build another cruise terminal in its marina district.
I've been living on boats for about, I'd say, 10 years now.
This is where Sean Flatley lives. Longer than anyone else who lives on a boat at the Cape Marina, he tells me. Now Sean's getting his plans in order for when he'll have to move. So as long as you've been here, this marina's been here at the port.
Yes.
How do you feel about losing it?
I think it would be a shame to lose this marina. If everything was going to turn into just cruise terminals and parking, people from Orlando who want to come out here and then have dinner here or charter or a fishing, it's gone. So I like the diversity of different types of things going on here.
In my coverage, CEO Captain John Murray has talked about having a variety of activities at the port.
We've been very, very focused on balancing everything that makes Port Canaveral what it is.
However, for this story, the port didn't want to make a new comment. The marina had a farewell party over the holidays. Management says the port still hasn't told them exactly what its redevelopment plans will look like for the new terminal. However, they did tell me the port is giving them a couple extra months to stay in business. The marina's lease was going to end in February. Now they say they'll close in July. In Brevard County, I'm your Cape Canaveral community correspondent, James Sparvero, News 6.
All right, time now for us to look at our important forecast as we head into the weekend. And things are really warming. This is a forecast that is late spring, early summer, it feels like, Jonathan.
Very April-like, for sure. Temperature's going to get back into the lower 80s again. We're going to add about a degree or two on top of what we saw today, and that'll continue into the start of your weekend. And then we'll see things fall on the back half. Satellite and radar are showing us a few of those higher wispy clouds if you're along the coast, especially in northern Volusia, Flagler County. You already have some of that thicker fog coming back in. Gorgeous shot here as the sun is heading down. Here, live look, Port Canaveral, Brevard County. With our Launch Credit Union camera tonight, temperatures back to the upper 60s. Under a mainly clear sky, the breeze at about 5 miles an hour. Clouds and rain forecast. There's not going to be much rain over the next few days. But one of the things we're going to watch again is that thick fog coming in, especially along the coast. Gradually, that's going to work its way further inland for your morning commute tomorrow. So that's something I'll be watching through the overnight. That's 7 to 8 o'clock on your Friday morning. Again, we have the white there representing some of the fog. That'll turn to a few of those higher thin clouds, just like what we saw today. You see the motion of the clouds, though, in white. That's that southeasterly breeze pumping in the warmth. That will be near record warmth again tomorrow. 75 in Mount Dora. Good evening, New Smyrna Beach. We are at 70. Bushnell, we're at 75. Holapa, we are checking in at 73 degrees. Now, tomorrow morning, we are back to the lower 60s. Another very mild stretch coming on the pipeline before a round of cold. For that, here's a look at your forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Strata Services.
Highs tomorrow within a degree or two of tying or breaking records. Rain chances, that's basically just the mist and some of the fog that we'll see early in the morning and then late tonight again right along the coast especially. Averages are in the lower 70s. That's going to put us about 10 or so degrees above where we should be for this time of the year. Again, 83 the forecast in Orlando. The record is 84 degrees. Sanford, we're checking in at 83. Our record is 85. Here's the cold front, though. This is the change for the second part of your weekend. You see where the temperatures really drop off. 38 in Omaha, it's 64 in St. Louis. That's where the front is situated. That will arrive on the early side of Sunday morning. We have air temperatures over the next couple of days into the lower 80s, 20% shot for a few showers on Sunday afternoon. That's when we start to cool down just a little bit. We're back into the upper 70s, mid 60s for highs on Monday. I think our next best shot of rain, guys, there'll be a few showers on Sunday. I think it's going to be late next week. Wednesday, Thursday, that's when our next good shot of rain comes through.
Okay, as long as we get a little cool down too with this near record heat. All right,
Yeah.
thank you, Jonathan. Sports director Jamie Say is here now.
All right, Jamie, a lot of excited Hurricane fans around right now.
That's for sure. I mean, their football team is about to kick off in the playoff semifinals against Ole Miss. The Canes for the Canes, or rather the Keys for the Canes. The Keys for the Canes.
The case for the Canes.
The case for the Canes, the Keys for the Canes, making the national championship. It's all coming up next. But as we go to break, Magic guard Anthony Black dishes out an assist off the court today. He matched Planet Fitness's $5,000 donation to the Boys and Girls Club. More sports coming up next. Can the Canes get it done tonight in Glendale, Arizona? In just over an hour, Miami football kicks off in its biggest game in over 20 years. It's the Hurricanes and the Ole Miss Rebels tonight in the Fiesta Bowl, battling for the right to play for the national championship in a couple of weeks. Miami is favored tonight by a field goal. The odds makers believe in the Hurricanes defense. Now, the key for the Canes, though, is to stop the Rebels' dynamic playmaking quarterback, Trinidad Chambliss. He's the conductor of the second-ranked offense in college football.
You know, watching him on film, he's a different level. I mean, he can do it all, and he has excelled in every aspect of the game. He certainly brings a ton of energy to their team. He's a limitless football player.
They just bring pressure. They're just very physical, high motor defense, and I know that, Coach Cristobal will get those guys ready.
The last time Miami played for the national championship was the 2002 season. The last time Ole Miss played for the national championship was in the 1960s. Tonight's Fiesta Bowl is scheduled to kick off around 7:30. Former Florida quarterback DJ Lagway chooses his new home, and it's closer to his actual home. The Texas native has reportedly committed to Baylor, which is his father's alma mater. Lagway had visited Florida State over the weekend. Miami Dolphins will look for a new head coach. The Fins fired Mike McDaniel today after 2 straight losing seasons. He was hired in 2022. He returned immediate results on offense. Miami led the league in total offense in 2023, but then failed to spark in 24 and 25. The Fins also need a new general manager after they fired Chris Greer during the season. The Orlando Magic are back home. They'll host the 76ers tomorrow night. And today we learned that the Kia Center could be hosting one of the NBA's marquee events in a few years, specifically the 2030 All-Star Game. Jason Siegel, CEO of the Greater Orlando Sports Commission, announced at a luncheon today that the city of Orlando is in the running. Orlando hosted the All-Star Game in '92 and 2012, and Siegel says the 2030 event could generate up to $400 million of revenue for Central Florida.
These are generational opportunities. They come around maybe every 20 years. And for us to be back at it in the running is really exciting and a testament to this growing community, and a community that loves their basketball, certainly, and that loves the Orlando Magic.
It would be awesome if we get it. Another big announcement involving our city beautiful. The road to the World Cup will go through Orlando Camping World Stadium to host 2 exhibition soccer matches featuring national powerhouses this spring. Colombia takes on Croatia March 26th. Then it's going to be Croatia and Brazil on March 31st. They're prep matches for the 2026 World Cup. Okay, Canes going to win tonight or not?
I mean, they have to. Let's go with that.
I don't think so.
I think so.
All right,
Trinidad
2-2.
Chambliss guy is pretty good. More news coming up at 9 on clickorlando.com. News 6+ streaming. Apple see who's right later tonight.
Until then, have a great night. We're optimistic.
Our ACC team that didn't even make the championship has now beaten 2 of them. Right? Didn't they?
Well, no, Miami beat Texas A&M and then Ohio State.
Oh, I'm sorry. They
Yeah.
Jonathan, since at 3:40 we didn't do the update, do we have to record that now?
Wait, what?
At 3:40 we did not record an update, so do we need to do that after this?
I don't know.
Probably. I don't know. Nerd.
It's news to me.
Okay, keep it to yourself. All right, stand by.
If they didn't do it, maybe we got to.
In. You ready? 5, 4, 3, 2.
Thick fog is already rolling into parts of Central Florida. We'll talk about how far it gets and when we could be talking about record heat coming up tonight at 11.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Thick fog in the morning will give way to record heat in the afternoon. We'll talk about that tonight.